If you're preparing for the TOEFL reading in 2026, I have some bad news. A lot of the older material, including some of my older videos, no longer work. On January 21st, 2026, the TOEFL reading completely changed. There's new questions, new task types, and that means new tips and tricks and strategies, and also new traps that you have to be careful of. The good news is that we're going to talk about all of that stuff right now. I'm going to start by talking about the new format of the TOEFL reading, and then get into the tips and strategies that are going to help you do your best and improve your score for each task type in the TOEFL reading. My name is Josh from TST Prep, and let's start by talking about what actually changed in the TOEFL reading. So the TOEFL reading in 2026 now consists of 3 tasks. The first task is called Complete the Words. The next task is called Read in Daily Life, and the last one is called Read an Academic Passage. Let's talk about Complete the Words. It's the first question type, the first task type you'll see on test day. It'll be a short passage, about 70 to 100 words long, and there will be 10 blanks, and they're partially written words, and your job is to complete the words. It's pretty simple. And it's a little tricky. You might see 1 or 2 in the beginning, probably 1. The next task type is called Read in Daily Life. Now, to make Read in Daily Life a little more complicated, there are 3 types of Read in Daily Life. So what are they? The first one is, I call it Daily Life Short. A lot of these have not been given official names by ETS yet. But I call it Daily Life Short because it's short. You probably read an email or see an announcement, and you have 2 questions that you have to answer. You see the passage and you answer the questions at the same time. There's also a Daily Life Long, which is basically the same thing, but longer. You have to read an email or an announcement, and then you have to answer 3 questions about it. Most students ask, should I read and answer the questions first? Should I read first and then answer the questions? Should I do both at the same time? And I recommend just reading and answering the questions at the same time. Time management, I think, is not as much of an issue for the new TOEFL, but still read and answer the questions at the same time. I think that's going to be most helpful for you. The last type of daily life is not very common. It's called text chain. It basically looks like this, and it's supposed to mimic what you would see on like a WhatsApp group chat or Slack messaging. So it's supposed to look like that. You probably won't see it on test day, but you might. So I put it here, and then you have to answer 3 questions. The last is the academic passage. So Read an Academic Passage is similar to what you would have found in past TOEFL tests, except it's much shorter. So this is a topic that you would find in a university setting, something from a History 101 class or a Biology 101 class, so something basic in university, except it's much shorter. The passages used to be like 700 words long. Now they're about 200, 250 words long. So they're much shorter, and they have 5 questions. And again, you can read and answer the questions at the same time. I think that's a good strategy. But note that the questions do not go in sequential order. What that means is that question 1 might be towards the end of the passage, but question 2 might be towards the beginning. So that's just something to keep in mind. In the past, the questions went in sequential order, not this time. So that is Read an Academic Passage. Now, about the overall structure of the test. So the reading and listening sections are adaptive. What that means is that they change based on how well you're doing. So there are 2 modules, which is like a fancy way of saying part. Part 1 is always the same, high level of English, low level of English. It'll be the same for everybody. Module 2 will be different if you're doing well or if you're not doing well. So if you're not doing well in Module 1, you probably won't have an academic passage in Module 2. If you are doing well, you'll probably have an academic passage in Module 2. The structure of the reading section is not always exactly the same, but it's pretty similar. And here are a few examples so you can see the kind of flow of how the test will look and feel on test day. All right, so that's about the structure. Now let's get into the good stuff and talk about the tips and ways of actually improving your score. The first tip has to do with complete the words, and that is to type letters to check your ideas. So I've heard, that now that there's a new test, there's been some other teachers that I've been hearing some tips and tricks for. One person said to count the number of blanks. It's really not necessary at all because you can just type in on the test and check if the word you think it is fits or not. So for example, if we read this passage here, the invention of the printing press changed how information spread across Europe. I think maybe this is because, and so I start typing B-E-C-A-U. Oh no, because doesn't work, right? So then I have to experiment and try other things. The reason I recommend typing in is that you can see what's in your mind. Okay, so you think it's something, but it's hard to visualize. It's hard to picture. When you can read it and think it at the same time, it's a much more powerful way of understanding if you're correct or not. So use the keyboard, type these things out, use the spaces, and read it out loud. You can't read too loud, but read it quietly. See, because this machine. So check if this makes sense. Obviously, there's things wrong here. I'm trying to fit too many letters here, so it can't be the word because, right? Instead of just counting that and thinking in my mind, I could just see it with the keyboard. Type things out. It'll help you visualize if you're doing things well or not. You can always delete. Once you type something, it's not there forever. You can just delete, it's no problem. So here I'm playing around a little bit, and then I can say, okay, before makes more sense because the letters fit. That makes more sense than what I wrote before. And I can see this based on typing. So type for complete the words, it'll help. The next tip is, again, for complete the words, because a lot of people struggle with this. This one is called subject juggle for answers. This is something that I made up a couple years back, and it's still helpful for complete the words. What does this mean? Basically, it's a way of thinking about the structure of English. Every sentence needs a subject. Not every language is like that, but in English, if you want a complete sentence, you need a subject, verb, and an object. Why do you need to know this, and what does this have to do with TOEFL? If you're writing something and you want somebody to read it and you don't want them to be bored, you can't use the same words over and over again. If I'm talking about lions and I say lions are big, lions are predators, lions live in groups, it's very boring. Lions, lions, lions. I need to stay on the topic, but I need to change the way that I'm saying it. So lions are big, they are predators, right? So you probably know that. And then these giant cats. This is a demonstrative and an adjective and a noun. It's a common kind of way of rewriting or restating a topic. Another example here, people love to eat popcorn. It comes in many different flavors. This tasty treat is often served in movie theaters. What does this have to do with complete the words? Well, you have to find the blank words, and a lot of times the blank words are topics. And so since the subject of the sentence, they're the subject of the sentence. So since the blank is the subject, you can look at the previous sentence to see the subject and use that information to help you answer the questions. Here's a couple of examples here. Bridges allow people and vehicles to cross rivers, valleys, or busy roads safely. To stay strong, they. So it's about bridges, so they, not it, right? Another example here, the invention of the printing press. Before this machine, so there's a demonstrative, this machine, and then we have printers coming later as well. Besides, rewriting the same topic over and over again, another way to write something interesting is to keep progressing the story and progressing the topic. So another way to progress the topic is to make it more specific. And again, if you see here, it starts by talking about cells. Every living thing is made up of tiny units called cells. And then it's going to get more specific. Each cell has a thin outer layer. And then when many cells of the same kind work together, and so it's progressing the topic. We talk about cells, and then we talk about a cell, and then we talk about when cells work together. Understanding this idea of the structure of how academic passages are written will help you find the blanks. Another example here. People make countless decisions every day, from simple choices to major life plans. Okay, it's very general. We have to get more specific. Often, the mind uses shortcuts to decide quickly. So the topic here is shortcuts. So the topic changed a little bit, but it's still connected to decisions. And then I can see that decide is in there as well. I go into this in a lot more detail in the TOEFL emergency course, so let me shout that out really quick. Whether you are studying for 2 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, or 1 month, we have a study plan that works for you. Practice test questions, everything you need in one place. Check out the TOEFL emergency course. This is perfect for anybody with less than a month to prepare for the test. Everything you need in one place so you don't have to keep going around the internet looking for stuff, and everything is updated for 2026. The old content is gone, doesn't work anymore. So check that out. Link in the description to a offer only for the YouTube audience. So again, subject juggling, really useful, especially for complete the words. Books, they, these crucial resources, Ricardo, he, that friendly teacher, and so on. These are some ways to help you complete the words and figure out what is missing in the blank. The next tip in the TOEFL reading is to check the clock. Okay, so some people are a little confused about time. Actually, let me know if time is an issue for you, because in the past version of the TOEFL reading, it was really hard for people to do everything in time. I'm curious to see if you have the same problems now, but let me give you some advice about the time right now. Is that the clock, when you see it counting down on test day, it won't be for one question type, it'll be for the whole module. So there's 2 modules, 2 parts, module 1, module 2. The timer that you'll see is for your module, whatever you're in. Let's say you're in module 1, the timer is for module 1. So you have to finish everything before that time runs out. You also see the questions, how many questions you have to answer in the top left, so you can have an idea of how much you have left to do and how much time you have. But the clock is going to change. How much time you have will change depending on the test. It's not one set structure. You don't always have the same number of complete the words, same number of academic passages. It's not the same, it changes. Since the time changes depending on the test you get, the number of items changes. So here's a rough estimate of about how much time you have per task. So complete the words, you have about 2 minutes. Daily life short, you have 90 seconds to read and answer the 2 questions. The text chain and daily life long, you have 3 minutes to answer those 3 questions and read the passage. And the academic talk, you have about 5 minutes to answer the 5 questions. So when you're practicing, maybe time yourself, see how long it's taking you. Make sure you go under that amount of time for each task type. Another thing to keep in mind is that in the TOEFL reading, you can actually skip around. Like if you don't know the answer to question 2, you can skip to question 10. I don't recommend that. I recommend you just answer the questions in order. And the reason is because we remember stories. If you're doing a daily life short and you're reading the passage, you're thinking about it and you're thinking about what it says, and then you're like, okay, I don't know number 2, I'm gonna skip it, I'm gonna come back to it later. And you come back to it later, you have to do it all over again. You have to read the passage again, you have to remember the situation again. It's better to just take a guess. And also, by the way, you might run out of time and you can't go back. So it's better to just take a guess and then write down in your notes. You have a piece of paper. You don't have to write a lot in your notes. But for TOEFL reading, I recommend you write down maybe the question number. And then if you're confused about it, you circle it. So let's say you're at question 3, you're taking too long, you need to move on, you're not sure of the answer, pick what you think is the best, circle it, and move on to the next. You can jump back later. At the end, if you have time, you can review what you've done and you could change your answer if you want. Use your notes, write down the number, circle it if you're a little confused about it. Let me get to the next tip here. Watch out for answers that appear too easy. Now this is especially for daily life short and all the daily life in general. Be careful when it looks a little too easy. What do I mean? What I mean is that the passages are super short. I mean, so I think it's pretty easy, to be honest, to do these daily life stuff. But they do have to make it a tiny bit tricky. And so if you see, for example, a date, like here, May 12th at 4 p.m., and it's very clear, don't be lazy. Make sure you read it carefully because the answer to the question is actually A. And so you have to read the passage to understand why. So that is one way they might try to trick you, is just by writing down exactly what you read. So if there's something there that's written exactly the same, be careful because it's probably, it could be the correct answer, but maybe not. So just be careful of that. I mean, again, these are pretty easy, I think, but that is one way that they can trick you a little bit. Just they think that, you know, oh, I just see this here, I'm going to just circle this one because it's correct. Don't do that. Make sure you can explain your answer. Another example here is what will happen if students return their books after December 18th. So you see December 18th, and then the part highlighted in orange, it says, please return them to campus bookstore by December 18th. So I would pick C, they must return them to the bookstore, but that's not the question, right? The question is, what will happen if students return their books after? Late returns will result in small fines. So that's what will happen after. So make sure you read the question carefully. Don't just rush through these, even though I think they're pretty simple. I think they're so simple that you might think that you can just kind of go quickly. So yeah, just be careful of that. Take your time. I think time management is not a big deal here. So just be careful when an answer is written the exact same way. Be a little careful. The next tip is about skimming. So do not skim the passage, read it. So this is kind of from past advice that I gave about the TOEFL reading, was that the passage was really long and it was academic, it was hard. So, you know, and you had to answer questions. So a lot of times I would recommend students skim first and then read and answer at the same time. I don't recommend that anymore. Pretty much, you should just read and answer the questions. I don't think you have to get too fancy here. The passages are pretty short, even the academic passages. I think you probably even have enough time to read and answer the questions, but I recommend doing them at the same time. I wouldn't skim, I wouldn't scan, I wouldn't get too tricky about it here. And you know, the reason is because like if you scan an email, I mean, a lot of the important information is in the sentence. Emails are not academic passages, so they don't follow the same structure. So it doesn't even make sense to skim emails. Don't get too tricky with the reading strategies for the most part here. The last tip, one of the most important. Before I do, make sure you check out tscprep.com for hundreds of free practice questions. We have free practice tests. Make an account, tscprep.com, and you'll get some more practice. So the last tip for the TOEFL reading is to be careful of negative factual information questions. So there's a couple different question types. I haven't talked about them here. Let me know in the comments if you want me to make a video about the question types, because it's a whole topic by itself. But one question type is called negative factual information. You'll probably see one on test day. So it's not very common. You'll probably just see one. It'll probably be after the academic passage. But it's so tricky because it's just the opposite of what you normally do for a question. So the question is worded as, all of the following are mentioned in the paragraph except. So what that means is that you have to find the one incorrect answer. So the reason why this is difficult for students, because you're so used to finding the correct answer is the wrong answer. So that's negative factual information. So be very, very careful of that question type. There are usually 3 reasons why students get a question wrong. Is that they misread the question, misread the passage, or just didn't understand the vocabulary. And that first one, misread the question, you don't want to get points off for that, because that is something that you can control. And that doesn't have to do with your vocabulary or English level. It's just reading carefully. So don't fall into that trap for negative factual information questions. Make sure you understand that you're trying to find the wrong answer there. So be super careful of that. Very tricky. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you found that helpful. And if you're ready to practice some TOEFL reading, check out this video here and you can do that. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you in the next one.